It's Jess from Snow Beauty Co. In this week's vlog, I'm going to be sharing with you what I'm working on this coming week, any updates and learnings from last week. I'll also be sharing with you some odds and ends from my personal life. And finally, I wanted to tell you about 3 apps that have been really helpful for me on Instagram. So here's what's happening this week at Snow Beauty Co. My first priority is to complete my mission statement. I think it's critical to any business, no matter what type of business that you're in. And before I get much farther along in my business, I want to make sure I have mine totally nailed down. Something else is I'm making small steps forward with manufacturers and working on product development. I had reached out to manufacturers a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't get any responses last week and thought, oh no, am I too small for these companies to even respond back to? So decided I just needed to have a little more gumption. I sent a second email to one company that was in New York, and then called and left a voicemail for one company that I was interested in Texas, and thankfully got calls back from both of those groups and companies this week. I was just ecstatic when I saw their numbers pop up on my phone and got to have a really great conversation with both companies. That was a really great win and something that I'll be moving forward this week. Something else I'm really excited about this week is my website, and I've been working on that with my brother-in-law. He is so sweet and has just been, teaching me about Google Analytics and a few other tools that I need, and just helping me set up that initial website. So I got to see the website in Sandbox. It didn't even have my pictures in it yet, but I was still really excited. And lastly, I wanted to share from this week about Instagram. That is one of the social media platforms that I'm really focused on making sure that I build. So my struggle with Instagram has been knowing what exactly to post. Is it okay for me to post, things about my personal life? Should I stick purely to business? Should I keep a really narrow focus? Should I only post in my brand colors? And so those are some of the things that I'm struggling through this week, and we'll be doing some more research on. And you can look at people who've been successful managing it one way and someone who's been successful managing it a different way. So I don't think there's just one way to do it. I think the most important thing is for me to have a cohesive message. It's also really important for me to be me. My hope is that if I don't know you, you're watching this, you've been following me, that if I met you in a coffee shop, you would be like, gosh, that girl is the same in person as what we see online. Taking that approach, that I am going to have some times where I don't post the best thing, and I'm just gonna have to learn through those things. The reality is that the way that I've come about filming these and launching my business is I'm just jumping right in before I fully know what to do. I'm kind of learning a lot just as I go. I did that on purpose. There's a lot of fun to doing it that way because you're kind of sitting on the edge of your seat all the time trying to, learn and just absorb. So I think that part's really fun, but it also can be a little nerve-wracking sometimes to, put out an imperfect image or product of yourself. So those are all the things that I'm kind of working through. If that's you, be encouraged, just grow through the mess and you'll be fine. Okay, so that wraps up what I'm working on this week. Sort of. I'm actually working on a million different things, but those are the highlights. Moving on to learnings from last week, I wanted to tell you guys about this huge heartbreak I had over my logo. Here's the big reveal, because it doesn't matter since I'm not going to use it anymore. I was going to use a snow tiger as my logo and as the icon for Snow Beauty Co. And snow tigers, they're black and white. They're gorgeous. I loved a snow tiger because it's strong and it's rare and it's beautiful. All things that I want Snow Beauty Co. to represent. However, in learning and doing some research about snow tigers, I discovered they're not actually real. You continue to see them in zoos, you continue to see them in the media because we're demanding them. We love them, they're so cool. So how could I have this logo and image that represents my company that's not actually real or authentic? I made the really hard decision of just totally scratching that idea. It'll probably be even better than what it was going to be before. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have that for you guys also in the coming weeks. Be unveiling one little piece of my company at a time as I'm creating them. So topic number 3 today is just odds and ends. I wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into my week. Last week, I saw the movie The Greatest Showman. It was so good. The music was good, like every single song was good. You know how some musicals, there will be like one song where you're like, oh yeah, I love this movie, but this one song I don't really like that much. I didn't experience that at all with this movie. Visually, it was beautiful, the dancing was beautiful, and the story was really beautiful. So if you're looking for a movie to see this week, I highly recommend that one. Update number 2 is I went on a short run this week and it was not pretty. I used to love to go running. I would run with my dad all the time when I was a kid, and growing up, that's just always been a big stress reliever for me, was to go for a jog. So it's really kind of hilarious how terrible I am right now, but you know, baby steps. I received my first email asking if I wanted to do a collaboration with a company on YouTube, and that was really fun because that's something I'd love to do with brands and with companies that really represent what I am all about and what Snow Beauty is all about. This company I probably won't do any collaboration with, but I was excited just to get the email and the invitation. The last thing I wanted to tell you guys about today are 3 apps that have been really helpful for me in managing my Instagram account. The first app I wanted to tell you about is called WordSwag. This is my favorite app that I have purchased. I think I bought it for about $4.99, so it's not too expensive. And it has, it's a tool that you can use with your own photos or with some of their images, so just like a plain, colored background. And I use it to create quotes. There's all sorts of fun fonts and word art. It's so easy to use. And another cool feature is that you can crop any of your images for exactly the platform that you are going to be using. So they have the image for, or the size already established for Instagram, for the normal squares. They also have it for Instagram stories, which is a different size. For Pinterest, for Facebook, all that's in the app. So it's really easy to make sure that you're designing an image that is the right size for the platform that you are going to be posting on. The second app I wanted to tell you about is called Prime for Instagram. This app is really helpful because it gives you the best times for posting pictures online. It uses an algorithm to calculate, when you're going to get the best engagement, which time of day for each day of the week. What's cool is that it also gives you several options for each day. So if that prime time for that day isn't a good time for you, then there's going to be several other options for that day, and it ranks them in order of which time they expect will have the best engagement. The last app that I wanted to tell you guys about is an app that's called Later. And this app has been just invaluable for me in building out my social media feed. You can import pictures from your phone or from your computer. You can drag and drop them into place to see exactly what your grid is going to look like on Instagram before you even post. You can also type captions on your computer using a keyboard instead of using your phone. For me, this has just saved me so much time and helped my words flow a lot faster than if I was trying to type out everything out using the keyboard on my phone. This week, I use Later to actually schedule out my posts on Monday. So on Monday, I sat down and I wrote 5 different posts and scheduled the time that I wanted those posts to occur during the week. And I used the Prime app to figure out the prime time for posting those pictures. What was great about that is that I could sit down and think about my messages kind of more cohesively. It takes a lot of pressure off of trying to create content daily. My longer term plan is to actually schedule out my posts 2 weeks in advance. so that I'm never under the gun to create interesting and valuable content, and that I'm always seeing that preview of my grid to make sure that I have a cohesive brand when you look at my Instagram feed. I will include links below in the description of this video for those 3 apps so you can go and read more about them and see if they might be a good fit for you. I really appreciate y'all just tuning in and your interest in my venture. I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and say hi.